You're listening to the Betoota Advocate's weekly news wrap on Desert Rock FM 96.5. Welcome back to the weekly Betoota Advocate Bulletin. There's been a lot going on in the news. There always is in this country of 25 million people divided down the middle by two religions, particularly. We have the Protestants and we have the Quakers. There are minority groups in this country, but they have too much power, so we're not going to mention them on this podcast today. How are we going, Errol and Wendell?
Oh, just had to quickly say my Hail Marys this morning in secret. As you just pointed out, my religion is one that has to be hidden, apparently, in this country. Yeah,
well, I mean, good on you, mate. That's we don't want to hear about it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know.
It gets a bit tiring, Errol. We do bang on about it a little bit. I'm all right, Clancy. Significantly poorer than I was this time a week ago, but tends to happen around this time of year, doesn't it?
Silly Spring season. Carnival, mate.
Yep.
Spring Carnival. Do you want to get us started, mate, on these Melbourne Cup stories?
Yes. Yeah. We had a few Melbourne Cup stories that generated a fair bit of traction online, as you said, split down the middle. A lot of comments on social media. One of the bigger ones was about an owner of a puppy farm Labrador who lives in a one-bedroom inner-city apartment saying, "Nup to the cup."
Yes, a Brunswick woman has this week made sure to let all of the people in her online echo chamber know that she will be saying "nup to the cup."
Taking to her heavily curated social media accounts, Betoota Chamber revealed that she will be seizing on the yearly opportunity to gratify herself by using emotive language to belittle people who enjoy a day off and criticise the horse racing industry.
Speaking from her one-bedroom apartment where she lives with her golden lab, who she bought for a cheap price from some out-of-town owners who she pretended didn't have a puppy farm, O'Chambers says she is disgusted at Australia.
"Honestly, anyone who supports horse racing should have a green tarp put around them," she said to us. "I don't care if most people are pretty apathetic to the race itself. It's disgustingly cruel," said the woman who has a large toy dog to keep her company. "Horses are locked up and used for human enjoyment," she continued as her cooped-up lab let out a small, subdued woof. "Until people are done with them."
And that is actually what her voice sounded exactly like, Errol. We couldn't find the quote, it got lost, but that essentially was what
sometimes
it sounded like.
It's very hard to understand people speaking in that Melbourne dialect of Australian English.
The Melbourne dialect.
The Malbonese, yes.
Yeah, very strange. Anyway, strong stance on animal activism when it suits her there from Beck. Now, another story about large land animals, and we head up to Sydney with Mossman cops revealing that they had the biggest bonus over the possibility of shooting a couple of lions.
Yes, cops in the sleepy lower North Shore of Sydney this week revealed that they woke up with the biggest morning wood ever.
A media officer for the local area command named Alex De Angelis explained that the entire unit was pretty trigger-happy on Wednesday morning after learning that 5 lions were on the loose.
Yes, the incident occurred at Taronga Zoo, and 5 lions reportedly escaped their enclosure and started wandering around the place, which is literally the one thing that a zoo should prevent from happening.
Both cops and groundskeepers then spent the morning frantically working to recapture the animals before police could turn up and pull an old Cincinnati Zoo incident.
Yeah, we didn't need that lingering over our heads for the next decade or so, explained a zookeeper, at arguably the best attraction in the nation's most expensive and boring city.
As a result of the quick recapture of the animals, it's believed the local Mossman cops have since filed paperwork insisting blue balls as a debilitating workplace injury after their rock-hard boners were left to go flaccid without spilling any big cat blood at Taronga Zoo. I'll tell you who could have solved this problem much quicker than these cops. Glenn McGrath.
And he would have even taken a few photos with the lions as well. Yeah, they did recapture the lions, but unfortunately, we've heard the reports, there are still a few animals on the loose. A lion, a zebra, a hippo, a giraffe, and
Hold
4
on a second,
penguins.
mate. I've seen this one before.
Yes.
Well, hopefully we use our antique submarines to sink them before they break our special quarantine rules.
Yeah. It's pronounced Madagascar, not Madahuha. Now, we move on to a story from here in town. Local news now, and a Betoota man is contemplating life after learning that a new pram cost more than he paid for his old 1993 NC Fairlane.
Yes, a Betoota Heights city worker opened his net bank this morning to see he's worth significantly less than he was last week, discovering that a pram he agreed to buy with his wife is worth more than the 1993 NC Ford Lane he drove around in his 20s.
He said, I knew that there were probably prams out there that cost that much, but I didn't think they'd be available at the Betoota Heights Westfield. And he continued, he said, but yeah, I get that you can get a pram for $20 and it'll complete the job of keeping your child off the ground and easy to move around, but yeah, look, it might give them scoliosis and my dreams of following them around on the PGA or LPGA will be over. But even if they have the best pram, they could grow up to be a genuine idiot. It doesn't matter how smart you are, if you get pushed around in a bugaboo fox as a baby, you can still grow up to be a highway patrolman or even a fucking parking ranger. Anyway, I just thought this was insightful, you know, how wages haven't gone anywhere, but everything has gotten more expensive.
That is insightful. Back to the question from last week. Maybe a Westfield. Maybe I'd vandalise a Westfield. I know it's not technically a public building.
That sounds like terrorism.
Yeah,
sounds like terrorism.
Yeah.
I think it's a shame. I think it's a bit of an affront.
Yeah, well, there's enough people running around Queen Street Mall in Brisbane with guns.
Here, Errol Parker. Now, we'll finish up with some entertainment news. And housemates of a Taylor Swift fan have been forced to turn off the mains power after an entire week of waterboarding, Clancy.
Yes, a share house in South Betoota has today been forced to take drastic action after 7 days of non-stop Taylor Swift echoing through the halls of their quaint 5-bedroom project home.
It is believed that one of the tortured housemates decided to take matters into their own hands. Enough is enough, he said, flicking the mains power off at the switchboard. Hear that? Silence.
This literal power move follows the release of Taylor Swift's latest chart-topping album titled Midnights. The new record has managed to nab the entire top 10 single spots in the US charts and has broken all records for streaming in the history of online music. The airwaves inside the Betoota share house is also being dominated by this particular body of work.
Yeah, unfortunately there was a little bit of silence, but then the housemate we spoke to, he heard the power on noise, you know, that of a portable Bluetooth speaker. So I believe the noise has begun again. But look, you know, she's a country music fan, and Taylor Swift is the greatest country music musician of all time. So you got to celebrate a new album.
Yeah, look, or you could do what I did to my overinsured Californian bungalow that the council wouldn't let me renovate on Greenbrier Road down there. I put a whole bottle of metho into the dryer and then I turned it on and then I went down to the shops and I came back and the house was on fire.
Anyone in the house at the time? Because that's the problem with 5 housemates.
No, mate. No. Just my hopes for the future because they discovered that the house burned down from a fucking bottle of metho in the dryer.
You still got a few 100,000 hopes for the future out of it, I think.
We'll see, mate.
Anyway, that's all for this week. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.
Hooroo!